Businesses today are sitting on these huge mountains of customer research, but let's be honest, way too often it just fails to become what it's supposed to be, a real, tangible, competitive advantage. So we're going to dive into a framework that's all about bridging that critical gap between just having raw information and actually making decisive, game-changing moves. So let's kick things off with a frustration that's probably all too familiar. Your company sinks a ton of time, a ton of money into customer research. You get back this massive, comprehensive report. It's packed with charts, all this data, and then what happens? Crickets. Nothing really changes. That report just ends up gathering digital dust on a server somewhere, and it's business as usual. Why is this disconnect so incredibly common? It turns out Albert Einstein basically nailed this whole issue. He captured it perfectly. The failure isn't usually in the data itself or even the analysis. It's in the setup. We're all so eager to jump straight to finding answers that we completely fail to spend enough time defining the actual problem we're trying to solve in the first place. So, what's the fix? Well, it leads us to a much, much more effective way of thinking, a problem-first framework for customer research. The goal here is really simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's to make sure every single piece of data you collect serves a very specific business purpose. This completely shifts your focus from just collecting nice-to-know facts to zeroing in on actionable, need-to-know insights. Okay, so let's actually walk through these 6 steps, and I want you to notice the critical bookends here. It all starts with managers defining a specific business problem. Say something like, why is engagement with our product declining? From that point, you formulate the right questions, you pick your method, and only then do you go out and gather and analyze the data. After you interpret the results, the whole process comes full circle to the final step, solving that original business problem. The research in the middle, that's just the bridge that connects the problem to the solution. And to make sure you're always on track, you've got to use this actionability test before you even think about starting. Ask yourself these 4 questions. They force you to filter out all that nice-to-know stuff and really hone in on the insights you absolutely need to know to make a confident call. I mean, if you can't clearly answer these questions, your research project just isn't ready to go yet. Simple as that. Now, this whole framework, it's not a one-person show. Not at all. It's a truly collaborative process, and it needs a coordinated effort from 4 key roles, all working together in lockstep to generate those really meaningful insights. And what's really interesting here is how all these responsibilities are divvied up. You see, the business manager's job is to define that problem upfront and ultimately to make the final call. The market insights and data analytics researchers, they're the specialists, right? They're the ones gathering and crunching the numbers. And then you have the project manager, who acts as this crucial hub, making sure the whole process runs smoothly and that the results get communicated clearly. Every single one of these roles is absolutely indispensable for success. All right, now let's get into the really exciting part, how new tech, specifically artificial intelligence, is just turbocharging this whole process. It's not about replacing the framework, not at all, but it is about dramatically speeding up some key parts of it. At the very heart of all this AI talk is machine learning. And the key concept here is pretty straightforward. These algorithms aren't just following some rigid, pre-programmed set of instructions. No, they are built to autonomously improve and refine themselves based on the new data they process. Put simply, they learn as they go. Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? Let's take a software company that's just launched a brand new video game. They've got a small but really enthusiastic base of early adopters. The big business problem is, how do we find more players like them and do it efficiently? So instead of, sending out a bunch of traditional surveys, the company unleashes an AI system. This thing dives deep into the data of that initial group of users, and it analyzes thousands of different data points. I'm talking not just demographics, but subtle behaviors like how they play, what they buy in the game, how long their sessions are, all to build this incredibly rich, multidimensional profile of the perfect player. And this is where the magic really happens. The system then performs what's called lookalike matching. It scours these massive data sets to find new people who share all those complex characteristics with the original players. What you get is a hyper-targeted audience for your marketing, and it's all done at a speed and scale that would be completely impossible for any human team to ever achieve. And this example just perfectly shows you the 2 sides of the AI coin, right? The power is just undeniable. You've got incredible speed, massive scale, and algorithms that get smarter all by themselves. But the pitfalls are just as real. AI can really struggle to predict totally new trends because, well, it only learns from past data. And its recommendations can be tough to trust, especially when they come out of a black box that we don't fully understand. So all of this, it brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. In this new world of AI-powered research, the strategic role of the human manager doesn't just disappear. In fact, you could argue it becomes more critical than it has ever been. Here's the bottom line. You have to think of AI as a tool. A ridiculously powerful tool, sure, but a tool that complements this framework. It doesn't replace it. It can put things like data gathering and analysis on hyperdrive, but it absolutely cannot execute the entire strategic process all by itself. Think about it. The really critical stuff, that still needs a human touch. A machine can't define your business problem for you. It can't formulate those truly insightful, strategic research questions. And it certainly can't interpret the results within the bigger picture of your company's goals or make that final nuanced business decision. That right there is still the manager's job. So let's wrap up with this thought. AI can find you answers faster than you can even blink. But the value of those answers? It's 100% determined by the quality of the question you ask in the first place. The most advanced tool in the world is completely useless if you point it in the wrong direction. The fundamental challenge hasn't changed at all. Is your business asking the right questions before you even start looking for the answers?